Hundreds of kings, warriors and emperors have written the pages of history of Islamic countries. In this episode, we will focus on those who came after the death of the Prophet. Sadly, many of the greatest rulers and generals of Islamic countries deviated from the righteous path and were not only remembered for the expansion of Muslim influence, but also for their cruelty and intolerance. Fortunately, Muslim history has also great examples of just rulers who held strong to the principles of Islam while expanding Muslim influence across the world. This episode focuses on 11 of these great Muslims. This video is sponsored by Asab. Stay until the end to know more about this new streaming service for Muslims. Tariq ibn Ziyad was a Berber Umayyad commander who initiated the Muslim Umayyad conquest of Andalusia and present-day Spain and Portugal. As a governor of Tangier, he led a large army and crossed the Strait of Gibraltar from the North African coast. The name Gibraltar is the Spanish deviation of the Arabic name Jabal Tariq, meaning the mountain of Tariq, which is named after him. In 711, the army of Tariq ibn Ziyad, composed of 7,000 Berber converts to Islam, fought against an army much larger than them, led by King Roderick of Hispania. After Roderick was defeated, Tariq became then governor of Hispania. Yusuf ibn Ayyub ibn Shadi was a Sunni Muslim Kurd who became the first Sultan of both Egypt and Syria and was the founder of the Ayyubid dynasty. Saladin led the Muslim military campaign against the Crusader states in the Levant. He fought in the Third Crusade against English King Richard Lionheart, which allowed him to take back control of Palestine, including Jerusalem, from the Crusaders, who had conquered the area 88 years earlier. Saladin also made peace with the sect of the Assassins, who held 9 fortresses in the An-Nusariyah mountains. Despite the Crusaders' cruelty, Saladin granted amnesty and free passage to all Christians and even to the defeated Christian army. Saladin died in Damascus in 1193, having given away much of his personal wealth to his subjects. Although he was the enemy, Saladin is still viewed in a favorable light in Europe because of his generosity and his chivalry. Sultan Razia Sultana, also known as Razia Sultana, was a ruler of the Delhi Sultanate. Razia administered Delhi in 1231 and 32 when her father was busy with military campaigns and later ascended the throne in 1236. She was deposed by a group of rebels in 1240 after having ruled for less than 4 years. She married one of the rebels and attempted to regain the throne but was defeated and killed shortly after. She remains the only woman to have ever sat upon the throne of Delhi. Osman I or Osman Ghazi was the leader of the Kayyu tribe and the Ottoman Beylik or Emirate, one of the many Anatolian beyliks that emerged in the second half of the 13th century. He became the first of the Ottoman dynasty that would rule one of the most influential empires of the Islamic world, the Ottoman Empire, which would last until 1922. Mansa Musa was the 9th Mansa or king of the Mali Empire. Musa is known for his immense wealth and generous gift-giving. He is said to be the wealthiest man who has ever lived on earth. Under his reign, he extended the borders of the Mali Empire to parts of modern Guinea, Senegal, Mauritania, the Gambia, and the modern state of Mali. Musa went on Hajj in 1324, traveling with more than 60,000 people and a vast supply of gold that he gave away to the poor along the road. He recruited jurists, astronomers, poets, mathematicians, and other scholars from all over the world. Under his reign, he built numerous mosques and the University of Sankore in Timbuktu as one of the main centers for the study of sciences and Islam. Mehmed II, known as Mehmed the Conqueror, was an Ottoman Sultan who at the age of 21 conquered Constantinople and thus ended the Byzantine Empire in 1453. He is known for commissioning Hungarian gunmakers to create the largest cannon ever seen at the time. Mehmed continued with the conquest and reunification of Anatolia and of southern Europe as far as Bosnia, and is also known for defeating King Vlad Dracula in 1462, the guy who inspired the legend of the vampire. Mehmed II allowed his subjects to a considerable degree of religious freedom. He made many political and social reforms, encouraged the arts and sciences, and by the end of his reign, his rebuilding program has changed Constantinople into a thriving imperial capital. Amina II, or Queen Amina, was born to King Nekato and Queen Bakwa of Zazzau, one of the Hausa states in what is now the northwest region of Nigeria. Training as a warrior under her father's and brother's reign, she became queen in 1576. Only 3 months after being crowned queen, Amina waged war against her neighbors to expand Zazzau territory with her army of 20,000 foot soldiers and 1,000 cavalry troops. During her reign, Amina brought a great amount of wealth to the land. She introduced metal armor to her army and had the idea of defending her cities with walls, many of which still stand today. Under Amina, Zazzau controlled more territory than ever before. Her reign as a queen lasted for 34 years. Nur Jahan, or Mehrunissa, was the chief wife of the Mughal emperor Jahangir and is considered by certain historians to have been the real power behind the throne for much of her husband's reign for more than 15 years. More decisive and proactive than her husband, with excellent administrative skills, Nur Jahan was granted certain honors and privileges which were never enjoyed by any Mughal empress before or after her. Because of Jahangir's addiction to alcohol and drugs, she had to defend the empire, navigate family feuds, rebel uprisings in the War of Succession. When Jahangir was captured in 1626, she went to battle riding a war elephant. On the orders of the new emperor Shah Jahan, who was her stepson, Nur Jahan was arrested and spent the remainder of her life in Lahore with her daughter and granddaughter. Fateh Ali Sahib Tipu, also known as the Tiger of Mysore, was the ruler of the Kingdom of Mysore based in South India. During his reign, Tipu introduced a new calendar, built a naval force of 40 ships, designed a new coinage, 7 new government departments, and designed rockets that he deployed against the British forces. Tipu was one of the fiercest enemies of the British East India Company, fighting 4 wars against them. In the Fourth Anglo-Mysore War, the East India Company, supported by the Marathas and the Nizam of Hyderabad, defeated Tipu. He was killed in 1799 while defending his fort in Seringapatam. While British sources tried to depict him as a tyrant, Tipu was a devout Muslim, saying his prayers daily and paying special attention to mosques in the area. He was also religiously tolerant in a Hindu-majority country, supporting the building of Hindu temples and including Hindu officers in his administration. Imam Shamil was the political, military and spiritual leader of the Caucasian resistance to Imperial Russia in the 1800s. As the third Imam of the Caucasian Imamate and the Sunni Muslim Sheikh of the Naqshbandi Sufi Tariqa, Shamil united the many Caucasian tribes to fight against the Russians with the use of guerrilla tactics, defeating 10,000 Russian soldiers by luring them in the forests of Chechnya in 1845. However, Russian forces severely reduced the Imamate's territory, and in 1859 Shamil surrendered. Afterwards, he was exiled to a small town near Moscow and later was allowed to perform his Hajj before dying in Medina in 1871, where he is buried, and after having met the last great Muslim on our list. Abdelkader ibn Muhyiddin, also known as Abdelkader al-Hassani el-Djezairi, was an Algerian religious and military leader who led a struggle against the French colonial invasion of Algiers. As an Islamic scholar and Sufi affiliated with the Qadiriyya Tariqa, he unexpectedly found himself leading a military campaign. In 1830, Algeria was invaded by France, and when the French Africa Army reached Oran in 1831, Abdelkader's father was asked to lead the resistance campaign against them. Abdelkader united Algerian tribesmen and for several years successfully resisted one of the most advanced armies in Europe. In 1847, Abdelkader besieged, surrendered, and after his capture, he was released in 1852 and moved to Bursa in Turkey, then in 1855 to Damascus, where he died. He is still remembered for his kindness towards prisoners of war and his respect for his Christian opponents. His ability to combine religious and political authority has led him to be called a saint amongst the princes and the prince among the saints. Hey, do you want to see a film and TV streaming service amplifying Muslim stories and filmmakers? If so, you want to check out our sponsor, Ushub TV. Check the link in the description to find out more. Thanks for watching, and help our channel grow by liking this video and subscribing. Thanks for supporting us.